Right, just as a thought, I've left a postscript to today's review of episode 7. If you'd like to skip ahead, please do. It's me mentioning a certain well known mental health condition. Please have a look at that postscript at the end. And if you'd like to leave any helpful links, please leave them in the comment section underneath. Right then, hello there, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, welcome one and all. My name is Paul, I'm also called Knack, and if you're watching this video, you're watching it on my blog, Knack's Old Peculiar, or my YouTube channel, Mr. Cuddy2977. Welcome aboard and thank you for sticking with me. If you didn't know, I do the daily teaser set, brain teaser quizzes. You'll see them floating past on the blog and the YouTube channel once a day for the past God knows how long. I also watch movies, and I try and post as frequently as I can when I see one to let you know what I thought about it. But I also watch TV shows as well, and you'll find more about the films, the teasers, and the TV reviews lurking under the eye there, which is where you'll find my tip jar as well, if you like what you see tonight. At any rate, I talk about movies when I see them, I do quizzes when I get the chance, and I talk about TV shows as and when I sit down and watch one. Last night was Friday the 5th of August, today is Saturday the 6th of August, and I've managed to catch another episode of Star Trek Picard's second series called Monsters. Let me tell you what I thought. Episode 7, Monsters, opens with the usual summary of earlier episodes and then shifts to show us a sun through the window of an anonymous Starfleet office, one where Admiral Picard, Patrick Stewart, is talking to an unnamed counsellor, James Callis. The pair are discussing the Admiral's fear of outside spaces and the apparent mismatch with this fear and the Admiral's career in deep space on ships with holographic playgrounds capable of projecting as much outside as a body could want. The Admiral is not happy with the counsellor's line of questioning. It seems to him highly irregular, which is where the counsellor intervenes and asks the Admiral to tell him a story. So the Admiral does, telling the tale of a red-headed queen who enjoyed telling tales and painting glass for her young son, and reminding him that sometimes there is no better teacher than one's enemy, and that sometimes the monsters are all too real. Post titles, and back in the real world, we see that Admiral Picard is still unconscious on a table in Los Angeles. Raffi and Seven, Michelle Hurd, and Jerry Ryan decide to make themselves useful, trying to find out what's happened to Dr. Girardi, Alison Pill. Whilst Rios, Santiago Cabrera, keeps watch, Talon, Alda Brady, uses some of her equipment to connect herself to the deeply unconscious Admiral Picard and to try and help his younger self, in the flashbacks, deal with the painful memories of his mother's illness and death, and with the somewhat ambiguous actions of his father, Maurice Picard, James Callis, the counsellor in the earlier scenes. There are things that the Admiral really hasn't realised about his father's action when he was a boy until he's shown. Now, good, bad, or indifferent, I've got to say it's Star Trek Picard, the second series, the 7th episode, is another absolute 4-star cracker of an episode. It's incredible, it really is. We get to see all sorts of things mixed in there. Raffi and Seven's relationship is developing. The look on Seven's face when Raffi comes out with this everyone loves hearing about it spiel about their relationship is absolutely priceless. Well played to those two. It helps that Jerry Ryan's very competent as a performer, and Michelle Hurd has got to be, in my opinion, the star of the bloody show. We find out more about the Watcher, Talon. The clue about her identity is in the shape of the earpiece she's wearing for the neuro-optic analyzer brain hacking sessions. It's very pointy. It looks just a little bit Romulan. We also find out more about the Elorian relationship with a Q. There's a ritual Guinan uses towards the end of the episode that lets her summon a Q after her people made a truce with the Continuum. It lets her summon a Q. Except it doesn't. So it's got to be said, there's relationships are being shown to us in this episode. And there's a little bit of extra world building here as well. It's something I felt the Star Trek franchise does a lot better than some others I could mention. Certainly much better than the US remake of The Tomorrow People, I should add at this point. There's also something else. Monsters is one hell of a well-written episode, and it also benefits from a very strong ensemble cast. Seeing that cast working well, this episode shows us a fantastic array of good performances, but the standout one for me was James Callis as Maurice Picard, I should say. I only know the man from his especially slimy performance as Caius Baltar in the rebooted version of Battlestar Galactica, and an equally slimy merchant character in the one episode of Merlin he did. That's all I've seen him in until last night. And it strikes me that he puts in an incredibly sympathetic, likeable performance. A man desperately concerned for his very ill wife, and equally as concerned for his trapped son, who's obviously having a conflict that'll scar him for life. It is very watchable and very appreciated, as was this week's cliffhanger of an ending. Seven's realization of what's happening to Dr. Jurati, combined with Guinan and the Admiral getting arrested. Personally, I want to be seeing how they get out of this one in the next episode. Which frankly brings me to my last thought. You've been realising that I've been watching Stranger Things full series at the moment, concurrently with these episodes of Picard. And I'll be watching the next episode, The Massacre at Hawkins' Lab, on Tuesday the 9th of August, and releasing my written and video reviews on the 10th. That's that. I'll be watching Mercy, the next episode of Star Trek Picard, on Friday the 12th of August, and telling you what I thought about it on Saturday the 13th. I would love it if you joined me. I'll see you then. We can both see how Guinan and Picard get out of that cell, and please remember, I will also encourage you to do what everybody else doing a Star Trek review does, that is, live long and prosper. Or at least take care of yourself till next week. I'll see you then. Right, it's not often I do postscripts. Possibly do postscripts, but at any rate, I thought I'd mention this. At one point in Monsters, Maurice Picard mentions one of the monsters. He says in one line towards the end where he's rescuing Jean-Luc, he says, "Your mother suffered cycles of terrible darkness and irrational exhilaration. She needed help, but wouldn't accept it." Now, I couldn't know for sure if this was what's in the writer's minds, and I don't know much about the condition myself. I've known people who've had it, but don't know that much more about it than that, except that they have those cycles of darkness and exhilaration. I believe Maurice in this line is telling us Yvette Picard suffered with a form of bipolar disorder. Star Trek is usually a little more subtle in saying this is a bad thing that needs help, or people with these conditions need help. I'm thinking here of Sarek, the episode of Star Trek The Next Generation where we see Spock's father suffering with a Vulcan equivalent of dementia. So Star Trek doesn't usually go into that territory, but it raises bipolarity here. It doesn't tell us it's going to cure it, which is quite bleak for Star Trek, but it does warn us and remind us that it's there, and that sometimes it's hard to help people who've got it. It's a thought. I thought I'd mention it. Please, if you know any links to any sites that can help, please put them in the comments. Thank you for watching.